Good afternoon. I'm Patricia Latanzo, Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Justice and Attorney General of Canada. I'm honored to join you virtually for this important event, Finding Common Ground, Canada's Black Justice Strategy Onward to Implementation. And I want to thank the Globe and Mail and the Canadian Race Relations Foundations for creating space for a discussion that is both urgent and long overdue. Minister Fraser asked me specifically to bring this message today because this work is a shared priority and because the communities gathered here deserve to hear it directly. Il est particulièrement significatif d'être réunis aujourd'hui en ce mois de l'histoire des Noirs. C'est un moment pour célébrer la résilience, le leadership et les réalisations des communautés noires, mais aussi pour parler avec franchise des injustices et pour nous engager à transformer des systèmes qui ont trop souvent failli à servir les communautés noires. Last summer, I received my Parliamentary Secretary mandate letter from Minister Sean Fraser. One responsibility stood out clearly: to support the Minister of Justice in leading the implementation of Canada's Black Justice Strategy. I took that responsibility personally because this work is not theoretical. The work is about real people, real harm, and real opportunities for change. Canada's Black Justice Strategy exists because Black communities in Canada have been telling us for decades that the justice system does not treat them fairly, as accused, as victims, or as families. The overrepresentation of Black people in prisons, the underprotection of Black victims, and the deep mistrust of institutions are not coincidences. They are the result of systemic discrimination. Thankfully, systems can be changed. Je tiens à exprimer ma plus profonde gratitude au groupe directeur externe de la stratégie canadienne en matière de justice pour les personnes noires. Leur leadership, leur engagement à l'échelle nationale et leurs 114 recommandations offrent une feuille de route claire et fondée sur des données probantes pour un changement transformateur. Il s'agit de l'une des initiatives les plus sérieuses et les plus complètes jamais entreprises au Canada pour lutter contre le racisme anti-noir dans le système de justice. Our government is committed to moving from words to action. That is why, following the election, we sought $87.4 million through the previous 2024 Fall Economic Statement to begin implementation. This includes $23.6 million for the Department of Justice, funding that allowed us to extend the steering group's mandate for 2 years to ensure continued community leadership and accountability. This funding is now reaching provinces, territories, and Black-led community organizations, supporting youth diversion, victim services, and justice navigation through targeted funds from the Department of Justice Canada. These are tangible investments, already making a difference on the ground. We are also advancing legislative changes. Through Bill C-9, the Combating Hate Act, we propose to create a new standalone hate crime offense to better respond to hate-motivated crime, including violence targeting Black people. What this means in practice is clarity and accountability. When a Black person is targeted because of who they are, whether through violent attacks, threats, or intimidation rooted in hate, the law would now clearly and consistently denounce this crime and the serious harm it causes. It sends a clear message: hate-motivated crime is not incidental, and it will be taken seriously from the very start of the justice process. Bill C-9 is currently before committee, undergoing clause-by-clause review. As it moves through Parliament, we welcome continued dialogue with Black communities, advocates, and experts on how we can strengthen it further and ensure it delivers real protection for those it is meant to serve. Through Bill C-16, the Protecting Victims Act, we responded directly to the recommendations of the steering group by proposing measures to strengthen the principle of individualized justice within youth justice and by encouraging the use of diversion and restorative justice in appropriate cases. Police and prosecutors would be expressly required to consider the personal circumstances and characteristics of accused and victims when determining whether diversion is appropriate, with particular attention to the lived realities and systemic barriers facing Indigenous people and Black people. This is a meaningful shift. It is an explicit recognition in law that systemic inequality matters in how justice is administered. At the same time, by encouraging the use of restorative justice and alternative measures, we are proposing to create pathways that prioritize accountability, rehabilitation, and community healing over cycles of incarceration, giving vulnerable communities a real opportunity to succeed rather than a permanent mark that follows them for life. This work will not be finished in 1 year or in one mandate. That is why we remain firmly committed to the 10-year implementation plan with clear priorities, phased action, and measurable outcomes. As we mark Black History Month, let me be clear. This strategy is about justice, dignity, and trust. This strategy is about building a system that protects, not punishes unfairly, and one that reflects the values we aspire to as a country. Merci pour votre leadership. Merci pour votre engagement et merci pour votre partenariat dans ce travail essentiel. Je vous souhaite un événement couronné de succès et un joyeux mois de l'histoire des Noirs au nom du ministre de la Justice et procureur général du Canada, ainsi qu'au nom du gouvernement du Canada.